Well, howdy doodle foca Renos. We are back with NXTGEN on Season 4 of the GT3 World Tour. We find ourselves on round 7 today. I'll be updating you all with current standings as and when. Just going to be sorting out the Discords, getting it on the Facebooks, and we're going to be on comms soon. Of course, if anyone wants to ask any questions or keep in touch, you're welcome to speak in chat and I will see. Just going to pin that message. We always get the streams going for these boys, and I will be back on comms soon, but I will be in and out. Like I said, if anyone wants to ask any questions, or if anyone wants to say hello, of course I am here, always active in the chat. Very interesting track, this one as well, it must be said. Very tricky corner, that one, it seems. Kevin in the 777 Ferrari. We've got 32 minutes of free practice, which I'm going to take to myself. And of course, we will be back ready for the rocking and rolling for round 7 of the NXTGEN at Season 4 GT3 World Tour. And it'll be interesting to see exactly how we fare today, especially with points on the table, events always happening each and every race. Always some very exciting racing. Howdy doodle, Ian. Always an absolute pleasure to see you in chat. James Rickaby Evening just dropped in to check. Got the right channel. Cool, cool. Do you have the right channel? We've got the NXTGEN boys here today. Season 4. Round 7. Beautiful entry there. A little bit of a drift for the 777 Ferrari. But yes, I'll be back on comms soon, and always keep an eye out on chat on the phone with me, so we will see you all in a moment. Hope you're all doing well. We've got 10 minutes to go before the free practice session is over. And we're just sending the video to the relevant people that all love what is Assetto Corsa Competizione. And of course we have the arrival of the PlayStation 5 as well, with new updates on its way. Finding ourselves at Zolder. We can't forget the absolute legend that is Elliot Hankin joining us after having a little bit of man flu. He's back with us, and it most certainly goes to show what happens when one of the drivers aren't on track, especially the legendary Elliot Hankin. You really do miss this guy when he's not on track, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do today here with other drivers. And I'm sure a lot of drivers have had the chance to maybe get behind the wheel as much as they wanted to today at Zolder for round 7 of the NXTGEN Season 4 GT3 World Tour. And Nicolo currently fastest, and 111 behind is Lampy, also with a new livery. Samuel taking the podium itch in P3 in the identical Ferrari to Lampy. Only 0.3 of a second and 0.4 of a second in the free practice, of course, is Misha in the 909 AMG, and I will be reading out to you the scores soon. Nevertheless, we've certainly got some racing for you today, and just waiting for qualifying session to start. We'll begin to read you the standings and who is where. And it must be said, a big shout out to Matev in the 420 Porsche, the absolute legend. I see him quite regularly in my Assetto Corsa Competizione server, TMK444, or TMK Racing 444 server, and yeah, he most certainly runs away from all of us when we're in there. But nevertheless, we are just at the 4 minutes of a free practice session left to go. We've got Lexus joining us on track today, and we are followed by the Ferrari. And we've got Mercedes on track, the Audi, Porsche, McLaren, and of course the Bentley. So it's going to be interesting, especially with a demanding but smooth racetrack. Interesting to see how drivers will fare today. And of course, Kobe wants to watch Ferrari last year for the season 3 of the NXTGEN GT3 World Tour, but choosing McLaren for season 4 and actually doing very well. Most certainly up there on the points, and anything can happen in racing, and it always does, as I always say. And I love Assetto Corsa competitors only for that, because it is just so real and brutal and brutally honest. It'll be interesting to see what happens today, but it looks as though drivers are very comfortable. But number 7 McLaren, the blue and orange GT3 there, is most certainly one to watch. Hey, Rupativo. Howdy, my friend. Rupativo with a shout out to everybody, but specifically Lampy. We haven't given Lampy any love yet. Oh no, we have. But nevertheless, Lampy is most certainly one to watch. Did very well for the 2 hours of Bathurst. And lost out to tyre pressures, lost out to time in a couple of spins, but nevertheless would have got an even better result. But is most certainly one to watch today, especially on the race start here at Zolder. And anyone that plays, or rather drives in ACC, you'll know that the weight, transition and stability is what it is all about. If you want to get those fastest lap times, you want to keep the car as stable as possible. Hey, Lely, howdy doodle, matey. Good to see you. Thank you for saying hello and popping in chat and joining us for NXTGEN Season 4 Round 7 here at Zolder. Currently on board with a number 11 Audi Mamster, chasing the identical Audi of Elliot Hankin back with us today. I can just feel it in my bones already. It's gonna be a good one today, boys. Very stable driving there, pushing that accelerator down as and when he can, unleashing all to 600 horsepower on these very soft and sticky Pirelli rubber here. Some nice lines from the Audi. Well, it looks like free practice session has ended. I'm going to get myself my drink, as I am most certainly here to enjoy this one. And I recommend everyone at home, if you're here to watch round 7 of the NXTGEN GT3 World Tour, get yourself a drink, get yourself comfortable, take a couple of deep breaths, relax your body, and let go, because we are going to be in for a treat today. We've got quite a few on track. We've got points to fight for. We've got Nicolo well and truly in under grips with his Lexus now. We've got the 316 Lexus first to leave, even though we're still in free practice. There he is.
Green light. Give it all you can.
And we get the green now. For round 7 here at Zolder. And with 20 minutes of a qualifying session left to go, the boys aren't necessarily under too much pressure. They've got time to get them tyres up to temperature, and again, if you race in ACC, you're very aware of the importance and change of level of grip when your tyres are working at optimum temperature and pressure. Nevertheless, we have the pit connoisseur leading the way, followed by the number 7 McLaren Kobe, and Misha in the 909 AMG. 3 very quick drivers here. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on today. Now we've also got Lampi in the 51 Ferrari. Currently in pursuit is Mamster on their outlap here for the qualifying session at Zolder. Somewhat of a not too demanding track, but you've got a couple of hairpins there which require heavy braking. Make sure we've got the car straight for that one. Nevertheless, continuing to make our way through the right-hander of Nalbocht and up to Lucien, the right-hander of Lucien, where you want to be the best exit possible there because it's somewhat of a straight. Obviously you can only make or break time through corners. Anyone can accelerate in a straight line, so it's all about keeping that car as stable as possible, maximising how much grip you can get and sending it through the other side as he now makes his way through the chicane and up towards Schelling and through the next chicane up to the right of Telamenbocht and up to a heavy right-hand section of Boulder where we're heavy on the brakes. Want to be clipping the apex there, maximising your line, making sure you can get as early as possible on the gas and keep it flat until you're next on the brake. Here to Jackie and into Jackie's chicane and up to that start-finish line. And so that is going to give us times. We've got Kobe with a 1:30, Lampi with a 1:29, 3:64. Kobe second position. Hukan Lukan with a 0.86. We've got Jamo with a 1:89 in current provisional P2, putting Kobe in podium at P3 in the number 7 McLaren. And I will be reading the scores to you in current standings with regards to the NXTGEN Season 4 GT3 World Tour, but we are just watching drivers put their first times down. Lampi still 1:29, 3:64, the fastest lap so far. But nevertheless, we've had the green for the qualifying session here. And the 420 Porsche only 0.2 of a second away from Lampi in the 51 Ferrari. Now I'm just going to get my standings, give me 2 seconds and we can read the current standings for you boys and girls. Mamster taking a P1 128.833. The question is, will we see a 127? Let me know in chat if you think we're going to get into the 127s today, which is over 50 minutes qualifying session. But the boys are going to be in optimal, or coming up towards optimum conditions now. And so, as promised, standings are we have the number 7 McLaren Kobe, currently P9, just under a second off Mamster in the number 11 Audi, but leading the championship with 112 points. Second with 111 points is Lampy, currently qualifying P4 with a 0.4 second deficit. Just over 13 minutes left to go, and in P3 with 100 points we have Misha in the 909 Mercedes AMG GT3, 11 points behind Lampy, and 8 points behind Misha in the 909 Mercedes is Nicolo, who has just taken podium itch. 128.4, most certainly maybe see a 127 today, but nevertheless he is 8 points behind Misha in the 909 Mercedes, so keep an eye on those two. Lampy, Kobe, Mamster P5 with 84 points, currently P3 and in the pits, but leaving by the looks. Hukan Lukan with 57 points in P6. Just leaving the pits, we've got Kevin passing in the Ferrari. And the number 51 Ferrari as well of Lampy. Mamster leaving the pits with the 316 Lexus, currently in P11, 1.8 seconds off Nicolo, but he'll just be getting used to the tracks, and that might even be a track cut there. I don't know the limits. No, we're not on Gran Turismo. Ian with a good look all, what a legend. 316, but nevertheless we have Hankin, who's missed out on a couple of races but will be one to watch. 61 points, P7, but is currently in the pits and leaving the pits. So it's going to be another outlap. He's going to have to get them tyres up to temperature before he can push. In pursuit is Kobe, the championship leader with 112 points. Just over 11 minutes to go of qualifying as well here. And Alexei with 58 points in P8, qualifying P9 in the McLaren. Hempy with 58 points in P9. And Jamo 53 points in P10, currently 10th as well in the standings is the legend. And we have in P11 Rupativo, who, as I believe will not be joining us today. That brings you up to date with the current standings. But Nicolo taking back P1, 128.4, and the 909. Like I said, they're always next to each other. Lampy in P3 with the filled with the podium position side by side, provisionally with the 51 Ferrari as the 21 Ferrari. They're going to be side by side at the start here, not even half a tenth of a second, separating P3 with just under 50% of their session remaining. Next to cross the line to put a time on is Samuel, only 0.3 of a second, a very, very quick time here. Can he get on that podium-ish position? Can he take his fellow Ferrari down, who is only a 0.264? He's going into the pits, so the number 12 is next to cross. Can the number 12 Ferrari move up from P8? No, he cannot. That means Elliot Hankin next to cross, and yet to put a lap time down as he makes his way. Through the Jackie chicane and crosses that line and puts himself in 12th position, 1.5 off the pace, but newly out the pits. So now his tyres are going to be up to temperature. He's got just over 8 minutes realistically of time left to do his magic, which is the case of not pushing, just keeping the car as stable as possible. Pushing a little bit on exit, see whether we can move up the grid, but the championship leader currently in P6, 0.4 seconds of a second deficit to Nicola in the number 28. Lexus here still with the 1:28.4. No one else capitalised on that time yet, with just over 7 minutes of racing left to go. We've got Kobe making his way up to clean chicane. Zolder is one of 2 permanent racing facilities that anyone knows or cares about in Belgium. So it's side by side with Spa there, which is a country about the size of Belgium, perched on the join between France, Germany and the North Sea. Nevertheless, 0.4 of a second. The number 21 in P4 is about to cross that line. 0.3 of a second deficit. Can he move up from the second grid? Still 0.3, not even half a tenth of a second, but very quick times. Nicolo's still the king of Zolder with just under 6 minutes of a qualifying session left to go. Elliot Hankin next to cross, P13, making his way through Jackie and up to that start-finish line, and shaved 4/10, a solid just over 4/10 of a second there for the number 44 Audi. Anything can happen in racing, and it most certainly does. So it's going to be a very interesting race today. It's going to be interesting to see how they cope with only 60 minutes of racing here. All drivers required to pit. Pit windows are of course crucial. For a fast time, can do with 4:20 left to go. Number 420 Porsche P9.948 off the pace with a very quick 28 Lexus. No one still able to take that off, but we have Wilco next across that start-finish straight, as well as Kobe, the championship leader, making his way through Jackies and hurling up to that start-finish straight with just under 4 minutes left to go. Still not able to capitalise on that .465. Number 909 still P2, and Jamo next across, making his way through the chicane of Jackies. But can he move up the grid? So, no from him as well. The 492 of Mr. Gibb in the Bentley as the cameraman struggles to do his job. We could just see the 909 Mercedes contender for a championship win as we come towards the, or rather past now, the halfway 15 races. Through Jackies, and the Porsche has 800 degrees of steering rotation, which is both a good and a bad thing depending on your driving style and what you can get out of the car. Can Lampy get on the front row as he makes his way up towards Jackies? Just over 60 seconds of the qualifying session left to go before we get that green. I can already feel my hairs standing on end, because it is always most certainly action-packed, especially with all these points on the board, but still a 1, 2, 3. Not that far off, a blink of the eye away from Nicolo, still in P1. Misha next across the start-finish line. A 128.7 there for the 909 Mercedes. You can see the laser scan track giving him all the information through his force feedback through his wheel. But that is the qualifying session left. Drivers are, of course, allowed to complete their final lap. The number 17 next to cross of Alexi, doing very well and seemingly improved a lot with his driving and getting some grips with the car and the game. Driving style crosses that line, and that's his session over. P8.8 of a second away from a very quick 128.4 of Nicolo. And we have the legendary 420 Porsche making his way through Yorken and up towards Jackie. Can he improve on his 0.8 of a second? 3 drivers in the 0.8s. Coming up to the state of art racing sign. He crosses that line and he goes from P10 to P6, a 0.378 away there from Nicolo's 128. An absolutely blistering last lap after the end of the qualifying session, and gets it in there with the max wait time. And we've got just enough time here for the race leader to get his time in, as he is milliseconds away from crossing that line. Can he improve? No, he cannot, but nevertheless, he's the last out on track. He's taking P1 side by side with the number 909 Mercedes AMG. We've got Lampe in P3, Samuel in P4, side by side with Lampe in the Ferraris, and third row on the grid we have Luckham, who is side by side with the 420 Porsche, now making an incredible last lap through the max wait time, going from P10 with a 0.8 into a P6 with a 0.3, just underneath a very quick Mamster. Mamster always one to watch, seemingly always caught up in some action, so if you can keep out of it and just keep that car constant, he's most certainly one to watch as he works his way back through the pack. But nevertheless, that is the standings. Now I do just need to take a photo. So big shout out to everyone that's joining us live, all 11 of you that have joined us, watching us live on YouTube with TMK Racing 444 as your commentary. And what a interesting race this is going to be. What an incredible adrenaline filled start this is going to be for so many of the drivers, and even for us at home. Yeah, I'm most certainly excited for this one. Let us know who you think is going to take gold today in chat, or who you think might work their way back through the pack. Yeah, photo taken. Indeed, Simon. Great to see you in chat, mate. Always an absolute pleasure. I do appreciate it when you all say hello in the chat. You need to send Ian that video, Simon. First of all, that's Jerry. That really did make me laugh, I've got to be honest. But nevertheless, we have Mercedes side by side. With the race qualifying leader Nicolo in the number 28 Lexus, and behind Nicolo in P3 we have the Ferrari side by side with the other Ferrari. 51 and 21 are side by side. We've got Matev right on the grid, coming up to a left, but then a right hand chicane. So if these right hand side drivers can keep it there side by side as they go through the chicane, they do sort of have the advantage on the exit of turn 1. But we've got Kobe P1 112 points, Lampe P2, we have Misha 100 points P3, Nicolo P4 with 92, Mamster 84, Hukan Lukan 75, Hankins 61, and Alexi with 58, and Jammer with 53. So the question is, you work with Mamster. absolutely awesome. Yeah, Mumster's a pretty badass driver. Hopefully he can keep it in track today. But we're going to jump on board because we want to listen to those engines fire up. As we're now into the final 30 seconds. Oh, what a beautiful rumble. As all drivers are now waiting for that green for the formation lap of round 7 here at Zolder. And the race leader and the Mercedes 909 are underway. Just listening to the beautiful soundtrack that is Assetto Corsa Competizione. Howdy doodle, Dirk. What an absolute pleasure it is to see you, buddy. This is going to be a roller coaster of the ride, especially with the race start. It's all up to the drivers now to make sure the tyre temperatures are up to their optimum of 27.7 psi and in the green as well. And making sure those brake discs are in the green, ready to rock and roll for lap 1, the opening of round 7 here at Zolder. And like I mentioned to you before, the points are most certainly all to fight for here at Zolder for the NXTGEN Season 4 GT3 World Tour, currently led by Nicolo. 82 points and 112 points goes to the blue McLaren there, just in the top left of the camera shot. And of course we have John, the Helicam man, joining us today. How are you doing, John, from up above?
Hello there, TMK. Yeah, it's very good, thank you. It's most certainly all to fight for today. Race pace is something to always consider, and we have always been tread to some incredible action with the NXTGEN boys of the opening lap. So hopefully, fingers crossed to all the boys, can make it out safe. But back to you on the ground, and we'll see you soon. Oh, my blood is boiling for this one.
Thank you, John. Pleasure having you with us. Drafted in for Season 4 of the NXTGEN GT3 World Tour. And it's most certainly, we treat well from the NXTGEN boys. They pay for our flights. They pay all expenses paid. I had a nice steak dinner last night and the NXTGEN tab. But nevertheless, the drivers are making their way up to the penultimate corner. You can see Misha in the 909 Mercedes slide those brakes on, maximising as much as you can of them brake temperatures, make sure they're up to temperatures that are now forced into the Noah's Ark formation of 2x2, lining up as they made their way through the penultimate corner onto that start-finish straight. We are seconds away from round 7, and we are just waiting for that green cars side by side, 2x2. They are nearly ready to rock and roll, pushing all of close to 600 horsepower. We've got the green from round 7 here at Zolder. Mercedes side by side with Lexus. We've got the Ferrari on the inside, Matev on the outside, TMKup on the outside, and can the drivers on the right side actually hold on and maybe take a few positions there? But it looks as though the number 12 Ferrari is just behind the number 21 Ferrari. Matev not quite got the best run there. Kobe, well and truly working his way up. Look at this action that we've got here. It is all going off. Fortunately, I think we just got one driver who's just exiting the pits. All the drivers are still on track. Jamo having a quick trip to the beach, grabbing an ice cream on the opening lap. But we've got Ferrari and McLaren, the championship leader, in pursuit. The drivers making their way up to Jockenhard on the brakes, up to the chicane. And we've had an accident. Kobe in the number 7 McLaren
unfortunately not quite able to see what happened there. No replay function, unfortunately, but nevertheless, that is him. He's going to have to just get his head down, knuckle down, and get some positions back. But the number 51 Ferrari's already putting pressure on the 909 Mercedes, who is a 909 away from Nicolo in P1. Can you believe what we are seeing here? It is all kicking off. A 442 away from P7 is the number 777 Ferrari. Okay, so the pit lane is open, but the boys won't be required to jump in until we close into the halfway mark. We're hard on the brakes. Ferrari in pursuit. The Ferrari popping like it's firework day. The engine being pushed to its absolute maximum. Just listen to those pops there as we are on board with Lampy, a contender for the championship here for Next Gen Season 4, as he is only 1 point away from P1, the championship leader, with 111 points. But drivers now beginning to settle in as they make their way up and through the chicane. And the action is extremely close. He's going to be wanting to truly be maximising on slipstream, but you've also got to be careful of dirty air. Not quite able to get as much downforce as you possibly would like. And of course, GT3 cars are tracked with a healthy amount of downforce as they make their way up through the penultimate chicane here of Jackie's. Lampy not quite able to make anything happen, but my good God, look at how close this racing is. Alexei, who is most certainly going to be one to watch today, currently P10, and in pursuit is the 420 Porsche as the 98 Ferrari takes a racing line there, moves on the racing line the last second, is clipping that apex. It looks like he's got a run there, and the number 777 Ferrari. We've got the two Ferraris battling it out just in the background. We've got Porsche and McLaren at it. Jamo looking like he's got the Ferrari. One and truly stable is looking to have a little look. Is he going to take it, or is he just playing up pressure? He's hard on the brakes. He's one and truly on the tail end of that 777 Ferrari of Kevin there. Luke in the slipstream of Elliot Hankin, currently in P6 as this race continues to go underway. Lampy still putting that pressure on Alexei. Oh no, after concede that position away to the 420 Porsche, but it is still early days. Not even 5 minutes of racing left to go, and now Alexei is being chased by the championship leader Kobe in the number 7 and McLaren as Mamster just in the back shot there. But we just do quickly need to jump on board with Lampy only 2 tenths of a second away from Misha in the 909 Mercedes AMG as they are going into the first left-hand corner here at Zolder. It's all about keeping that car as stable as you possibly can as they continue to make their way, traverse their way through section of Zolder. But we are only a second away from Nicolo in P1, but if they fight for position for P2, Mercedes and Ferraris, they both really want to be working together. Otherwise Nicolo is going to be laughing in his little Lexus boots and running away. But we have Samuel well and truly just watching the fight up ahead, but Jamo looks like he's going to be making that move anytime soon, but is a little bit wide there. Kobe 0.4 of a second. Samuel now beginning to make his way
up by just a tenth, grabbing a little bit of time back as the Ferrari and Mercedes are potentially going to be continuing to fight it out here at round 7 for NXTGEN's GT3 World Tour. And John the Helicam man with a pretty decent shot of the action up above. Currently watching P4 Ferrari chase down the podium pack. We've already got a pretty sizable gap there from P4 to P5. Hard on the brakes. I guess you can cut that more than I realised. And look at this, they are fighting for P2, and it does beg the question. Misha just taking a defensive line there, going back into the racing line. Maximizing close to 600 horsepower. Sound that is, and what an incredible race we are all being tread to for fans of ACC NXTGEN all around the world. TMK444 is most certainly honoured to be commentating for such an incredible event, and while we are tread to action there, Misha keeping the car straight, perhaps losing out on a little bit of a run there. The Ferrari having to also come off the throttle, but look at this. Nicola not quite able to run away. Samuel making his way up. But Misha's doing an incredible job on board with the 909 Mercedes here. Never really seeming to be flustered, just focusing on the road ahead, letting others behind deal with whatever he's got to deal with. Absolutely incredible racing here from the drivers, and you can see Samuel in the number 21 most certainly begin to make his way up, but my good God, we've also got a fight on our hands here. Jamo showing his nose to the Fluoro 777. They're going to go side by side. Matev in the 420 Porsche behind the very quick 98 Ferrari there as they made their way through the right-hander and up towards the next right-hander of Lucien. And the 420 Porsche is making a move. It's gone side by side, but not quite able to get his nose there. Hard on the brakes. Just see that Porsche closing in on the LCD screen to the right of the Ferrari there. Exiting that chicane into the right. Make sure we've got it tucked in, keeping those slicks as grippy as we can possibly keep them. Sure, we've got maximum traction. This is a very horrible corner if you're running too deep. It looks as though the Ferrari has got it under control as he goes under the grip sign and through the penultimate chicane there, and the 77 Ferrari running a little bit wide, and there's contact. That is big contact. That is huge contact.
not necessarily his fault, but losing it there, and it appears as though the two Ferraris and Matev, who was very close there, coming into contact, and now the championship leader making his way through all of that carnage. And he'll be now in P8. Oh, that really is a shame. And Lampy has taken P2 as well. It is all kicking off for round 7 of the NXTGEN Season 4 GT World Tour. Kobe behind Mr. Gibb, so he is P10. Championship leader in P10 after an unfortunate spin at this corner here. I wasn't quite able to see just out of the camera shot when it happened. But all drivers will begin to get into their usual flow now, and of course it'll be interesting to know exactly what the 420 Porsche is capable of now, as he may have some light damage, heavy damage. Looks like if he's got any, it'll be light. Certainly will have, can be capable with light damage. But like I say to you, anything can happen in racing, and it most certainly does. Now Samuel 0.3 of a second away from Misha. And he's ran wide going into P4, but you know what? Now he can get his head down. But he is coming under attack from the number 12 Ferrari, and he's going to lose a little bit of time here with dirty tyres, and he's sending himself to the moon, not quite able to get the grip he wanted there either. Unfortunately touching those sausages, and with the suspension being as stiff as it is, sending him to the moon there. So he's gone from a P2 to P4, and is now needing to keep off the number 12 Ferrari. But he is still one to watch. He will work his magic back up through the pack. That is a set of unfortunate events there for the contender of NXTGEN's Season 4 GT3 World Championship. Now we've got Elliot Hankin, not that far off Lukan, who is not far off Lukam, who is not far off the podium pack. And like I mentioned, anything can happen, and it will. The question is, who's going to end up wearing the crown today, and who's going to be on the podium itch? As Hankin only a 1.8 away from Lukan. 1.6 of a second away from Lukan, making sure we're maximising our line through there, keeping it as tidy as possible, keeping that GT3 as stable as we can, wearing his Nissan gloves, driving for Audi, hard on the brakes, clipping those curbs, keeping the car stable, unleashing all those 600 horsepower. Up to Jackie's, that final chicane as we cross that start-finish line, but Lukan holding his own in the Lexus. We're hard on the brakes. Does he have what it takes to hunt Lukan down though, as we can see him from the helmet cam of the number 44 Audi.
keeping it very stable, it must be said, so we will keep an eye on that one. Well, they're all still out, so I don't know whether the damage is too bad or whether they'll maybe just repair it when the pit window opens. But all drivers are still out on track. And Matev back in P10, where he was originally at until he qualified for a P6. And after the incident putting him back into P10. But it's most certainly one to watch, and is only 1.8 seconds away from the championship leader and Season 3 championship winner, Kobe Koal Fighter, driving the number 7 McLaren this year in the Ferrari last year. But very similar, 480 degrees of steering rotation and mid-engined cars. Seemingly doing very well, and Nicolo we've got some action here. Oh, to run a little bit wide now, go side by side, but Lucan just able to take that position back. We've had some changes of position, but nevertheless we're just going to watch this fight unfold. Elliot Hankin wants to take that position back, make sure he's got the best line he can, but pushing too much, we might just get that unsettle that car, which is where we begin to lose out on time. But he's still in slipstream range. He's chasing down that Lexus. We come hard on the brakes through the very awkward right-hander. Make sure we've stopped the car enough and back on to that 600 horsepower all the way up to the penultimate chicane here at Zolder. That means that the 909 is now behind Lucan and Hankin. Maybe tyre pressures are not up to scratch for the 909 Mercedes, but nevertheless has found his way from P2 to P7. Nicolo struggling with the Lexus in round 1 and 2, but also very wet races. Also seemingly well and truly finding his own with the Lexus. As we are finding ourselves in race 7. Did very well for the 2 hour at Spa 2 weeks ago. Settled in their own a little bit. So what's it like to jump on board the qualifying leader and race leader, the number 28 Lexus, Nicolo? A loss of wheel traction there, but the car was extremely stable, so no dramas at all. Hard on the brakes, seemingly late, so he must be getting some very good lap times here. That is an onboard from the race leader. We are minutes away from that pit window coming open, and of course the pit window is most certainly very important to the majority of drivers, because changes of position happen in pits with ACC. It all depends on what you need to do, and whether you're on manual. Rear end of that 44 Audi, again a little bit loose there as he continues to hunt down P5 with a 316 Lexus pit connoisseur Lucan. We're going to have to continue to watch the fight between the Lexus and Audi. As they make their way through the penultimate chicane there, and you can see that Elliot Hankin driving the Audi is pushing that GT3R8 to its limits. Well and truly within slipstream range there. Is he going to be making a move, showing his nose? We've got the 909 Mercedes just behind, watching the fight unfold. Elliot Hankin on the inside, not quite able to get side by side, but beginning to have a look, show his nose. So Lucan will be seeing the headlights of the R8. Having to go a little bit wide there. Gonna dirty tyres just a touch. Having a quick trip through the beach. We've had another beached car. Just allowing the drivers to get past, and look at this! We've got the 21 Ferrari side by side with Elliot Hankin in the GT3 Audi R8 and the 909 Mercedes all in tow here as they're coming up towards the penultimate chicane of Jackie's. My good God, check this out. Having a little look-see, continuing to apply pressure to Lucan, and the 21 Ferrari is most certainly having some difficulties there, showing his nose again, wanting to force Lucan into a mistake, and he's got the run. He's going to go side by side. They are now side by side as they come to the left-hand area of Zolder. Can they both keep it on track as they are hard on the brakes to a very awkward chicane? Lucan's got the better run. There's a little bit of contact there. They continue to make their way through the right-hander here and up towards the last right-hander where we are flat on the throttle and heavy on the brakes into a very awkward hairpin bend here, hard on the brakes. Lucan most certainly going to be wanting to get that position back, but we've got the 909 Mercedes also in shot. Wow, my good God, it is all kicking off here. We've got the pit window open, the 909 Mercedes taking his opportunity to now go in the pits and maybe make some adjustments to tyre temperatures if needed. We've got a few other cars that are also in the pits as well. race leader, Lucam in the number 12 Ferrari, 21 Ferrari also in the pits, Mamster and Matev in the 420 Porsche. It'll be interesting to see whether any of these actually go for any repairs, whether it's just a case of getting some new rubber on, fueling up and getting back out on track, which is probably the quicker option, all in all. But nevertheless, Elliot Hankin making his way through the Lexus now sending himself to the moon, with 3 minutes away from the halfway point. And Nicolo in and out of the pits, currently in provisional P6, but he is going to be on fresh rubber, maybe not push so hard so that rubber lasts a little bit longer, and he can get to the end of his session with good even tyre wear. Interesting to see how that one pans out. But the number 12 Ferrari also out the pits and not too far behind at all. Oh no, sorry, that's Jamo, sorry, got that wrong. Lampy now in provisional P1. Samuel just running a little bit wide there, as we are seconds away from the halfway point of this race. Speed drivers are going to be well and truly within the flow now, just because getting new rubber on, getting them up to temperature and pushing for points. But Lampy looking like if he can continue to keep this up, and Nicolo, these guys are going to be in for some good points. We will run through the standings again. We've seen Ferrari clip that apex and exit his way up to Jackie's final chicane here at Zolder. Just over 6 minutes of a pit window left to go. And I hope you are all enjoying it at home, watching the NXTGEN season for GT3 World Tour. Okay, so Kobe making his way into the pits. The championship leader with 112 points, 1 point ahead of Lampy with 111 points, currently in provisional P1, but also now in the pits. See the drivers make their way past, and just to the right there as well. What a beautiful shot this is. And Lampy now exiting the pits, but certainly a contender, 1 point behind Kobe, as the 1 and 2 on the championship make their way past each other. You can just see the Ferrari plant his foot down in first gear there and exit the pits. We've got Lucan in the pits, Alexi, Wilco and Hankin all left to pit. Will the number 44 Audi make his way into the pits, and if he does, where will he come out in relation to P5, the number 316 Lexus, as he now begins to make his way into the pits, maximising as much speed as he possibly can until he is in the pits and can safely get that pit limiter on. Alrighty, just see Kobe to the right hand side there. And Alexi in the McLaren making his way past that pit wall
see how rugged the track is. So we're really out optimal conditions now. We should see some really fast driving. So if we can get some side-by-side action with some of the drivers, that would be brilliant. Just appreciating the artwork of ACC. Beautiful shot here. As Elliot Hankin now leaves the pits. A quarry to the side as well in Belgium. Solar panels, little lake. Well, that's put Elliot Hankin in P5. Lucan's in P8. But the 909 Mercedes, if he's got his temperatures where he wants them, it'll be an interesting one watching him continue to chase down the number 44 Audi there, and Alexei still left to go to the pits. Well, I believe he's just entered the pit stop now, yep. And we are closing in towards the final sections now of round 7 here at Zolder. And the 909 Mercedes is hunting Elliot Hankin down in the number 44 Audi. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Nicolo's still in P1. Not too far away though is the number 51 Ferrari of Lampi. Seconds separating those boys, but the fight between Mercedes and Audi is underway as we close in towards the final sections here of round 7 here at Zolder. They make their way towards the Yokohama sign, hard on the brakes into the left-hander and right of the chicane, making sure we don't touch the sausage and send ourselves to the moon. Is one and truly within slipstream range there under the Assetto Corsa Confetti's only sign. Hard on those brakes. Hankin with a pretty decent getaway there. And I've been driving this game for a few days lately. Not as much as these guys, that's for sure, but lately I've been getting on it a lot more. And the cars most certainly do vary. You have to get the best out of them in different ways. And my short time that I had in the Audi, not really given much of the Mercedes much love, although it is a very capable car and I imagine it's very, very good indeed. I had to go with the Audi, and I considered the Audi to be a better handling car in comparison to the Porsche that I was using. But I also found that losing it, like the window to losing grip, is far smaller, so you can get more out of it, especially if you get it right. But it doesn't mean you've got to get it right every time to pull and pull and pull and pull. But if you're an alien and if you can do that and you can just lose yourself in the moment, a very capable car. But the Mercedes, also a GT World Championship winner.
The window is now closed.
Gonna have to give the Mercedes a go, I think. But I am a Lambo boy. Driving the Porsche quite a lot lately. I've been really enjoying it. But the Lamborghini, the way it sounds, the way it grips, the way it pulls, the way it handles, it's just... oh, I just love it. And again, they've all got their own characteristics, which is what's so amazing about this. You know, we're all across the world joining in on the same track of the laser scan Zolder, fighting it out for position here. And how amazing it is that we're all doing this across the globe.
working on our racecraft and been watching a lot of sim racing videos, and I've been seeing a lot of Max Verstappen racing in these sorts of games, and you know, he swears by these games. It's, you know, it's how he gets better, it's how he gets quicker, it's how he learns, it's how he practices, because there is no difference between this and real life other than G-force. You know, it's such a capable thing that you can learn a lot just through your hands. And if you know how a car handles, you know sort of what's going on anyway. It's very impressive indeed watching all these drivers drive these cars for 16 minutes, but it's not quite getting there yet for the 909 Mercedes, but 2.2 seconds now separating P1 to P2, so maybe Nicolo could begin to be under pressure soon. Well and truly be able to see him in his rearview mirror. Won't be the fastest line out of there. But Lampy is well and truly got his head down and eyes up and is hunting the number 28 Lexus down. But can the number 28 Lexus keep his cool, keep it up, and do what he needs to do for the remaining 22 minutes of Zolder? 0.3 of a second now separates. But also Misha is coming under attack from the number 21 Ferrari. So we've got Audi, Mercedes, Ferrari here. Earlier he was, it looked as though he was just struggling with the car in general. Don't know the reason. It just looked as though the 909 Mercedes was struggling with his car in general terms. Perhaps tyre temperatures weren't in optimum condition. That's lost him a few positions. But he has got his new tyres on, so he's now back into attack. So we'll see how he fares with Elliot Hankin as they now cross that start-finish line here at Zolder. And up to the right-hander and up towards Linden. That car as straight as possible. It looks like he's got his head down now. But wow, look how that corner, what an incredible corner that was from the 909 Mercedes, but the Ferrari also with a brilliant corner. We've got some incredible racecraft today. 1.8 now, another 0.4 of a second have been taken away between Nicolo and Lampe. Nicolo will most certainly be feeling it and sweating when he's in slipstream range, but Alexei Matev fighting it out, 0.2 of a second as they made their way up towards the chicane. Out on the brakes, Porsche versus McLaren here. Oh no, Alexei. That's really unlucky there from such an incredible season he's been having. He's been having some really good races. Nevertheless, that has happened. We've also got incredible action still going on here. losing 0.2 of a second to Nicolo is the 51 Ferrari in P2 with a 2.022. Mr. Gibb in the 492 Bentley, now ahead of Alexi, making his way through the chicane, keeping that Bentley stable. Good car control there from Mr. Gibb. Mamster in P9, just ahead of the 420 Porsche. Lampy taking another 2/10 back out what he's lost. And we've got green, grey and black on the screen here. But I don't want to miss out on any more of the action. Look at this, Samuel. This is why I jumped on 0.3 of a second, but he's taken another position away from the 909 Mercedes, now putting him in P6, which is absolutely destroying for someone who's been putting some really fast lap times down. And the 420 Porsche of Matev chasing down the number 11 Audi of Mamster. Mr. Gibb and Alexi joining the camera shot there as they are hard on the brakes up towards the chicane with just over 15 minutes of racing left to go. We're in the final minutes now before this is all over. Question is, can the 420 Porsche take down the number 11 Mamster? But they are both very quick drivers, so it would be more entertaining if anything. But nevertheless, a 4.44 from the number 44 Audi of Hankin in P4, chasing down Luckham in the number 12. Just ahead of the fight for P3 is underway, but the 909 Mercedes just not having his day-to-day here at Zolder, but Jamo moving out of the way, allowing the faster cars. You see the blue flag being waved, and Jamo being a gentleman there, letting the drivers through so they can continue fighting for their position. NXTGEN's Hankin is only seconds away from a podium. Still a 1.8 though. Ferrari chasing down the Audi R8 GT3, making the way under the Yokohama sign. We can see the LEDs flashing 4 and 5. P4 for the number 44, 4 seconds away from P3 podium itch with the number 12 Ferrari there. And we have the number 21 Ferrari, only 0.3 of a second, but a blink of an eye just in the slipstream and tail end of the number 44 Audi. But it's just a case of getting your head down and focusing and make sure you can just get to the end of this race. Don't worry about others, worry about yourself, worry about the road, worry about what's ahead of you, know what's behind you. Some life advice there, take it into racing as well. But I'll tell you what, Samuel in the number 21 Ferrari most certainly seems to have got the stability under extreme control there. Mr. Gibb just mowing the lawn there for a little bit. FIA rung him up, just asked him to mow the lawn there. Samuel P5. Can he take P4 though, away from the number 44? Audi beginning to find it out. He's gone for the switchback, not quite able to make that happen there through the chicane, but mind games have already begun. But is it going to work? Has he got a better run out? It looks like he may have indeed, but it's going to be quick on the brakes as they are side by side. He's gone, he's sent it, he's lunged. Oh my good God, it is all going on here. Going defensive, going back into the racing line. What incredible race that this is. This is what we're all here for. This is what we enjoy. What is going to unfold though, corner after corner matters. Every single corner, entry, apex, exit, it all matters. Look at the difference in lines. He's got the run, but it's not an overtaking place. It's a fast momentum corner there. As much momentum as possibly can, but Elliot Hankin with a pretty good run is short shifted to make sure he's not going to get in the way, making sure he can get the best exit he possibly can. But is it going to be enough to chase down Elliot Hankin, or can Elliot Hankin get the best run possible he can? And it looks as though he has, continuing to fight it out. We've still got the number 909 Mercedes in pursuit of that Ferrari in P5, chasing down P4 of the number 44 Audi. Elliot Hankin making the way through the chicane and up towards the right-hander. Look at this. What an incredible line there from the Mercedes. Wow. That just goes to show you what's capable, but it looks as though the Ferrari is actually losing out. Mamster losing position to Matev in the 420. Porsche making up the way through the final penultimate corner chicane of Jack is here exiting and up towards the start finish line. Just under 10 minutes of racing left to go. We are into the final moments. Mr. Gibb still is being chased by Alexei with that unfortunate off, but this is a very demanding game and demanding sim. One moment off is one error. One error is lots of time off, maybe even damage. So you've really got to be on it at all times. And it appears Nicolo is coming up towards the back markers, as is Lampy. 2.7 seconds are separating them. We've got Misha in the 909 Mercedes chasing down Elliot Hankin now in P4, but he's 1.3 seconds away. And this is very interesting because we now have Nicolo coming up to some back markers of Alexei and Gibb. And Lampy is in pursuit, so we could be in for some action here, depending on how this plays out. Okay, that's one back marker. Can Lampy get as clean of a pass? That is the question. As the race leader, now one car in between himself and P2, making their way into the Yokohama side up towards the chicane. You can see how rubbered the track here as well. We've got maximum grip going on here, minus the deficit in tyre wear. Up towards the next chicane, Alexi in the McLaren, hot on the heels of race leader number 28, Alexis Nicolo. Lampy passing Alexi, Alexi allowing the pass to be as clean as possible, and 2 seconds separating them both. .405 Ferrari allowing the number 28 Ferrari, got the 98 Ferrari coming up towards the 405 Ferrari, and the 405 Ferrari allows the number 98 Ferrari to pass and to chase down the number 21 Ferrari. And Lucan also passing the Ferrari just allowing to get out of the way there, making sure his racing etiquette is to a brilliant degree there. Make sure no dramas are caused. 0.7 tenths of a second separating P5 to P4 of Elliot Hankin in the number 44 Audi. 0.6 of a second separating Elliot Hankin to a podium-itch P3, currently occupied by Luckham in the number 12 Ferrari. 1.5 seconds from 2 seconds now. Half second has been taken away as Lampy chases down Nicolo in the number 28 Lexus, but can he continue to improve as he only has 5 minutes of racing? It's a 0.2 of a second, 0.2 of a second, only separating P1. Now he's well and truly within slipstream range. I'm not sure what's happened, but look at this, we've most certainly got some action now. It is all kicking off. Ferrari chasing down Lexus as we come up towards the final moments here of the NXTGEN Season 4 Round 7 here at Zolder. How is this going to play out? What do we think is going to occur? We've got Lampy with 111 points, 1 point behind the championship leader of Kobe in the number 7 McLaren, and Nicolo P4 with 92 points. Nicolo really needs this win if he wants a better chance of being in with the standings. Points wise, but nevertheless Lampy has got slipstream, but he has got dirty air here, and this track is most certainly one to put you in your paces. Not necessarily the most demanding, but you do have to make sure you get the cars through the corners. Dirty air is of course something to consider. But is P1 going to be taken away from the number 28 Lexus? But it does appear as though the 28 Lexus hasn't most certainly got this car control into a top tier condition as he has had on the race coming towards the chicane, as is the Ferrari getting hot on the heels. But maybe one of them is going to make a mistake. So number 51 Ferrari has a drive through. The number 51 Ferrari has just blown his chance of a podium position because he has been stung. With a drive-through penalty for track limits. And then he goes. He is going to be screaming. That's one of the issues when you are so close to a driver in front. Your line isn't quite the same, and of course when you're pushing it to degrees of 100%, 101 is obviously potentially a penalty, so that is extremely unfortunate there for the number 51 Ferrari. But he was hot on the heels of a potential P1, but he's now potentially going to lose out on a few more positions. But Nicolo well and truly probably laughing in his little Lexus boots now in the number 28 Lexus, and the Ferrari is out of the pits. It's going to be interesting to see where he gets in here, whether he's going to be in a fight with the number 44 and 909 here. Ferrari, Audi and Mercedes. Very strange pit exit. There he is. Our tyres up to optimum. Can Elliot Hankin take a possible P3 now? A possible podium itch after all that is unveiled. And this is what I say about racing. Anything can happen, and it will. But Nicolo is most certainly laughing. Not under any pressure anymore. He just needs to keep it under control as he makes his way up towards the penultimate corners here with just over 2 minutes left to go. Hey, Gendre. It's an absolute pleasure to see you in chat, mate. Thanks for joining in. We're into the final minutes now, and look how close this is. Elliot Hankin nearly on for a podium position. Is that a podium? It is. Lampy currently in bronze, giving Lucam in the, so we've got Ferrari in P2 and P3. The 909 losing out again. And a couple of tenths worth of time there. But can Elliot Hankin in the number 44 Audi in P4 take the podium position here today? It looks as though the racing gods are with him, but can he keep it on for the last 90 seconds of racing left to go here at Zolder for round 7 of the NXTGEN Season 4 GT3 World Tour? Lampy's going to be kicking himself. His mind might not be quite in it yet, but can Elliot Hankin take a podium? This is the question. Nicolo's well-deserved P1 is most certainly going to even the score charts yet again, and most certainly improve the racing even more, because this is just making the racing closer and closer. It is unbelievable. I cannot believe what I am seeing here, and the question is, get a 777 there.
Give me the webcam.
Well, we're on the final lap, but I don't know whether whether these guys have got a lap or whether it's going to finish now when they cross the line. Nope. Elliot Hankin has exactly 1 lap to take a podium position. From Lampy with an unfortunate drive-through there, but still keeping him in P3. So only losing 1 position, not too bad on the points, all in all. Happy to hear it, Gendre. Happy to hear it, mate. Glad you're doing well. Elliot Hankin still hot in the heels. Hard on the brakes, keeping the car as straight as he possibly can. He knows that if he's going to make it happen, this is his final moments, but he's ran wide. He's pushed and he's pushed and he's pushed, but unfortunately that means Nicolo has taken a P1. Congratulations to the number 20 Alexis there, taking a podium. We've got the number 12 Ferrari crossing that line in P2. The number 51 Ferrari is going to take bronze today, even after a drive-through penalty, which isn't too bad. Elliot Hankin with a P4, which is an incredible result considering circumstance there, and the 909 with a pretty decent result all in, working his way back up from P10 to P5 in the 909 Mercedes. Samuel P6, Hukan Lukan P7, Kobe the championship leader in P8 today. We're certainly going to even the scoreboards yet again and mean everyone is in for a pretty decent chance here of a shot of a podium for the end of Season 4 GT3 Next Gen World Tour, but the number 420 Porsche is next to cross that start-finish straight as they go through the chicane of Drakes, exits that final right-hand corner, and makes his way across that start-finish straight in P9. Some unfortunate events there, but that is racing, and Mamster also crossing that line in P10. And that brings this to a close with Alexi in P11, Gib P12, Jamo P13, Wilco P14, and Kevin taking P15 today. But Nicolo making his way into the pits, championship winner for the round 7 here at Zolder. A big shout out to him and all of the other drivers finishing their final lap, bringing it all to a close. I want to thank everyone who has joined in to the stream. I want to thank everyone who smashed that like button. It is very much appreciated, and I appreciate your support. Of course, I'm excited for the next gen series to continue on always to trip with incredible action. It's most certainly gentlemen. Most certainly gentleman-like respect whilst on track, and yeah, we are always treated to some incredible racing. So thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Big shout out to all of the drivers that have competed today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and Nicolo really getting to grips with the Lexus. And the pit connoisseur. Doing what he does best, and that brings us to a close. So big shout out to everyone who has joined in. It's been an absolute incredible race as per usual. Mr. John Wells, what an absolute pleasure it is to see you. Hope you're doing well, good sir. Great to see you. Thanks for saying hello. And a good race in there from John Wells. Cheers, Matt. Good race, says GT Mugelina. But yes, I'm going to look forward to seeing you all next week for round 8 of the Next Gen Season 4 GT3 World Tour. But that's going to be it from me. I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.